Hello, Hef Munson here. Welcome to this week's edition of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News. I've got the rundown here. We'll keep this short. We have news. We have a segment called Out and About in Arlington. We have CBB. We have 55 Plus News. And then we have a rather extended roll-in featuring a local musician named Jim Sheats, who helped out a lot during the recent AFAC drive. That's our show. Social media reminder, now more than ever is a good time to check the AWN Facebook page. It's called Arlington Weekly News. It contains links to 9 updates, video updates that are on our YouTube channel, which is Arlington Weekly News and the number 1. But it also contains intermittent text updates. So that really is the best place to go for all the information. And these things are not just weekly updates, but on an average of almost 1 a day. Also on WERA 96.7 FM. Now let's get on with the news.
Hi, I'm Miriam Gennari reporting for the Arlington Weekly News. On March 9th, 2020, the first COVID-19 case in Arlington was announced. Reports as of March 30th indicated that the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Arlington was 84. However, these figures are likely to increase because of restrictions of access to testing. As long as testing remains available only to symptomatic patients, the potential for the virus to spread from apparently healthy people will remain. We have been searching for an update on the George Mason University student who was stricken with COVID-19, as well as reports of any additional cases from GMU. We found no information on those subjects. However, GMU professor Tyler Cowan is reportedly hoping to incentivize a stronger response to the coronavirus by distributing more than $1 million in prizes for research leading to immediate help in fighting the pandemic. The prize money was reportedly gifted by anonymous donors. According to the GMU article, it's already having desired effects. We at Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News were very interested in learning and reporting on these desired effects. Did they include a means of rapidly providing masks, gloves, and respirators? No. Did they include a new procedure to ensure the safety of caregivers? No. Did they include the creation of a cure or at least a vaccine? No. The results have so far consisted of prizes for social leadership, data gathering, and presentation of good policy thinking, and something called rapid speedy response. No further details are available. Our friends at the online publication RLNow put out a plea for donations a couple weeks ago. It wasn't for supplies for shut-ins, food for the impoverished, or even rent release for those living paycheck to paycheck. It was a request for donations to make up for a reduction in RLNow's advertising budget. Since Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News has never had a sponsor or a source of advertising revenue, we can sympathize. We've been losing money for nearly 39 years while providing Arlingtonians with news, information, and great entertainment. Fortunately, RLNow has released an update saying they have received a good amount of donations, although ongoing gifts are still appreciated. It's nice to know that they're feeling better. By comparison, Arlington Independent Media, the main home of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News, has been in a more or less perpetual fundraising mode for the last few years. ever since the county board started saying that AIM should become self-sufficient and financially self-sustaining, unlike the Arlington County Government Channel, the Arlington Public Schools Channel, and for that matter, the Arlington County Board itself. Therefore, we must acknowledge that March 29th through April 12th has been designated as AIM's Spring Fund Drive. However, no donations need to be earmarked for Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News. We will continue to perform our services at our own expense, at least during the time of this COVID-19 pandemic.
Here's a replacement for Easy Being Green. It's called Out and About in Arlington. This segment consists of a stroll along Wilson Boulevard near George Mason Drive, and then a walk down the Bluemont Trail to Bluemont Park. The McDonald's has a painted sign that says, "Come on in," but it's for takeout service only. Next door, the Super Polo is having a special, but also for takeout only. A service business like Hollywood Nails Spa has it tougher, with no choice but to suspend operations. The Chinese restaurant offers online ordering for pickup, while Two Chefs Pizza offers a phone number. Both are good for people who are carrying a smartphone. The Bluemont Trail itself looked encouragingly empty, but this was early in the morning and there was a slight rain. I made another trip later on after discovering toilet paper for sale at the Shirlington Harris Teeter. The one package limit per customer was offset by the large size of some of those packages. Back on the trail later on, I noticed two types of signage. The trails are closed only to groups, while the parks, fields, playgrounds, restrooms, tracks, dog parks, and courts are closed to everyone. I saw one couple who were in Fields Park anyway. It may be that they ignored the closed sign, or perhaps that they entered at a place where there was no closed sign. As I walked towards Bluemont Park, I noticed other gaps in the signage, and some unofficial signage about a stolen bike that I was sorry to see. Really, Arlington? The trail approaching Bluemont Park was mostly empty, but there was some curious activity inside of the fenced-in soccer field. There was no closed sign, but the eastern gate was chained and locked. The fence is high. How did they get in? The western gate provided the answer. The lock and chain just weren't tight enough. However, a larger sign just inside the gate left no doubt about the park closure. The players could see me taking the photographs, but they didn't seem to care. Empty ranger cars nearby apparently provided assurance that the coast was clear. You could ask, what was the harm in using a closed park? You could say, they weren't hurting anyone. That is, unless one of them was inadvertently infecting the others, who would then return home to their waiting families. Time will tell. On a lighter note, back at the Safeway on Wilson, a little kid found a use for an empty toilet paper shelf. An indoor track. And that's what it was like to be out and about in Arlington.
And now for the Community Bulletin Board. Due to the closures of all the county's athletic facilities and the subsequent closures of most non-essential businesses, some enterprising fitness centers have come up with an innovative idea for home workouts led by online instructors. Participants can simply tune in, follow the instructor, and get a healthy, good workout. Some older viewers might even say it's the best thing since Jack LaLanne's TV show. Who's Jack LaLanne? Look it up. Local and national politicians, business owners, employees, economists, investors, and just about anyone else have been wondering about the trade-off between lost lives and lost income. Leaving everything open risks lives is one argument. Closing things down risks depression is another argument. Both points are valid. Two significant events to consider are the so-called Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 to 1920 and the Great Depression, 1929 to 1933. Some viewers and listeners may object to these dates being listed for the Depression, but that's how it was described in the 1937 World Almanac, when the Depression was considered to have ended. The 1918 pandemic resulted in an estimated death toll of between 17 million and 50 million. In these times, a more precise count would be demanded. In fact, these estimates vary based on the date of the study. Whatever the fatality figure, it has been reported that the pandemic resulted in increased rates of physical disability, lower income, and lower socioeconomic status. Oddly enough, during the years of the Great Depression, population health generally improved, and the life expectancy rate rose from 57.1 years in 1929 to 63.3 years in 1933. Life expectancy increases among minorities are actually even greater. These figures are from research and an article by Jose Tapia Grandios and Ana Diaz-Royes.
Let's move right along to 55 plus news. This is offered with kind of an asterisk, but it's the way things look right now, subject to change.
Rite Aid has joined the ranks of stores offering special shopping hours for seniors and other at-risk customers. Here's the updated list. Giant Food, 6 o'clock to 7 a.m., Harris Teeter, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays. Rite Aid, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Safeway, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays. Trader Joe's, expedited entry, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Whole Foods, 1 hour early, usually 7 to 8 a.m. We were unable to find any stores with special evening hours, so set your alarm clocks accordingly. Of course, this also means that the young'uns should stay away during those hours. Effective Wednesday, March 25th, Wells Fargo began restricting their lobby hours to appointment only. Branches with drive-through access will remain available. The Capital One Bank in Ballston quarter is temporarily closed. The Chase Bank in Ballston is temporarily closed. The Chase Bank on Westmoreland Street is offering ATM-only services. The Chase Bank in Cherrydale and Courthouse are offering ATM-only services. Information about church closings in Arlington is uneven. The Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington website states Sunday services remain online with access available by clicking a link. Christ Church of Arlington is also offering online worship services. The recorded service is even available via recording later in the week. St. Charles Parish is keeping its chapel open for personal prayer from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., but public celebrations of Mass are suspended throughout the diocese. Clarendon's United Methodist Church is temporarily closed. St. George's Episcopal Church has canceled all in-person church services until May 8th. The Arlington Baptist Church website is offering a template for at-home worship, including suggested prayers and songs. On a somewhat hopeful note, Arlington 55 Plus website has listed some events starting April 20th. These include Care of Houseplants on April 20th, Discount Travel Online on April 21st, Lee Lunch and Learn, Arlington Trees on April 22nd, Simple Flower Arranging and Native Plants on April 23rd, and on a less than hopeful note, End of Life Preparation Counseling on April 24th. This is merely a tentative schedule. We will provide updates in the next couple weeks in case these are cancellations or these programs move online.
Special treat this week, Miriam Gennari will be interviewing guitarist Jim Sheats, who will then favor us with one of his original compositions.
And now for a very special sustainable scoop. Our local celebrity, Jim Sheats, the one-man band, sharing his guitar talent with all of us and cheering us up during these difficult times.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Sustainable Scoop. I am here in the living room of my very good friend, Jim Sheats. And Jim, I just want to thank you for helping out Arlington Independent Media and the entire neighborhood in 22202 by donating your time during our food drive for AFAC yesterday. Thank you, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. It was fun. We kept our social distances, and we collected a lot of food.
We sure did, and you were jamming.
Thank you.
So I have had the pleasure of listening to you jam several times. You are on the local circuit here in the DC metro area. Tell me some of the places you play.
Believe it or not, yeah. Well, the whole thing started, I was talking earlier that, I played during college. Played in bands and did a little tour and all that stuff, and then went to work for the next 40-something years. But you never get music out of your system. And a couple of years ago, all of a sudden I discovered backing tracks with today's, technology, and I could go in and pick any song I want, take out the vocals, replace it with my guitar, and I just started playing again for myself. And before long, I had a giant repertoire of songs, and I started, I want to get out and play again. And then one thing led to another, and I've been playing at all the marinas and places like Clarendon's Beach Shack and down the street here, private functions and all kind of things. And it's just been fun.
We actually had you booked for a big event that we were going to have on 23rd Street, and everyone was so excited.
Including me.
Including you. A lot of people travel out of the neighborhood to go see you, but you play in the most beautiful venues. Yeah. And yet, this thing with the COVID-19 epidemic or pandemic is, this thing with the COVID-19 pandemic makes it really difficult for people to get together and be social.
Yeah.
And you know what, when you play funk, it's true, I feel social.
Well, it's a lot of old school stuff, and I just sort of kind of mix and blend blues and jazz and funk and a little rock and a little country, just throw it all in there, and stuff I like. So if you don't like it, too bad, I do it anyway, so I'll know. But it works out, and you're right, everything's been canceled now. There's nothing on the books to play, at least past the next 2 months. So we'll see how that turns out as far as, musicians. I got a day job that's hurting like everybody else. Now I'm still working, but the musician, that was, again, a fun sideline for me. And I was looking forward to, like yesterday for the AFAC thing, I started probably a year and a half ago. My son, Zach, is a social worker down in Richmond. And he had asked me one day, he said, "Dad, if you ever passing through town, could you stop and play for my clients?" And he takes care of severely mentally challenged adults. And I said, "Sure, I'd love to." Not knowing how am I going to do this in a different audience. But once I set up and looked at these people in pretty bad shape, the hand starts tapping and the toes start tapping. And it was really cool.
Yeah, that's the thing about your son and you and your family. You guys are all part, and your wife volunteers her time and her energy and her expertise constantly.
And puts up with me.
And puts up with you. But you and Zach communicate through music.
On that music side, yeah.
And you've written some music of your own. So I recognize a lot of your music, but you've written some of your own. So we're going to listen to some of that music.
Well, I've done that, and after that, I joined an organization here in Arlington last year called Music Men's. It's a great organization. They have over 100 musicians now that volunteer their time to play at some of the facilities around here with people in serious shape. They can't get out. And I play there a few times, and I had 2 dates of those on the books, and which have canceled, of course. But I am planning on doing a lot more of that in the next, from here on.
Well, I have good news for you because Arlington Independent Media broadcasts all throughout Arlington and we stream. So it would be wonderful if you could play some of those classics.
Yeah.
And then you could also share some of your own, music that you have created. That would be fantastic.
Well, let's see here.
So now we're going to take a moment and listen to some of the music that Jim plays when he's out doing a gig, and also some of the things that he wrote himself, so his original art. Jim?
All right, thank you. Anyway, I'm going to do an old funky jazzy song I wrote, so I hope you enjoy this.
you know, we all have gifts and talents to share during these difficult times. Few make us as happy and as cheerful and as smiley as the music you had an opportunity to enjoy with me today. James Sheats, the one-man band. And I just want to send also thanks out to Sheldon in Crystal City, Shar in Arlington Ridge, all the neighbors, little Michael who donated to AFAC. We will continue to bring you programming from Arlington Independent Media during this difficult time. And for all Arlingtonians who have talents, gifts, and strengths, let's come together and stay together through this difficult time. I'm Miriam Gennari. That's the Sustainable Scoop. Back to the news desk.
Thanks for staying home and staying safe. I'm Miriam Gennari. That's the Sustainable Scoop. Back to the Arlington Weekly News. I want to thank you, Jim, and all the bagpipe, harmonica, and guitar players out there. If you get a little stir crazy and you want to watch Jim over and over again, we'll post him to the Sustainable Scoop soon.
And that is our show for this week, beginning of April. We hope to see you again next week. It looks like we'll be hunkered down here for a while with the executive order in place. But we'll be here and try to keep you up to date. Be safe, be well.